Good evening, Pro Duffers and guests. My name is Mel Blackwell. Today we're talking with four of the men who helped start the Pro Duffers as we know it today, both at the chapter level as well as the national organization. Those four are Sewell Horred, one of the national founders, Buster Lofton, one of our founders, Jody Saunders, and Milton Bernard, both who helped establish the national. Let's start with the very beginning. Sewell and Buster, tell us a bit about how things got started and why they got started at the chapter level. And who were some of the founders and what happened?
Okay. Well, Buster and I started playing about the same time. 1946. And the reason I started was because my father had been sick. And I had come home from the army, been in combat in North Africa and Italy. And I took some doctors out to see my father. Buster's father was one of the doctors. Dr. Brown was another one. And the man that established the blood bank, Charlie Drew, was the third doctor.
That's right, you did go with that.
They went out to visit my father, and they just prescribed medicine and whatnot and got him up. I would walk my father back and forth up in the hallway, and they decided that a good thing for him to do would be to play golf. Now, we knew absolutely nothing about golf. So we bought not a full-set of clubs, but some jive clubs. Buster and I both bought these jive clubs. And we went down to Langston to play golf. That was the only place in the city that Langston could play. So that was the start of us starting to play golf. Now, the reason the Pro Duffer started was because we had some friends that finished med school here in Washington and went up to Philadelphia. And they played golf, and they had a golf group there already. And they would come down here to Washington, and we had a little group, about 9 of us who played together.
And we were going, I remember one time, we were going to Philadelphia to play, I guess in the late 60s, early 70s. And we were going to vote on some new members. And we voted on them, and that was Mumford, and that was St. Elmo Crawford,
Jody,
Jody,
Bus Yancey.
And
It was 22 of them.
22 of them. So we had that for a long time.
When did the name Pro Duffers start?
Oh, yeah. Well,
We named that early.
yeah, early on.
And how did that happen?
Well, I tell you, we were playing golf with Booker Kent. Booker and I was at one of the facilities. And a fellow introduced himself as a professional duffer. I said, that's really an oxymoron. We can get the name for this club, Pro Duffer, you know. And we presented that as a name, and they accepted it, and it stuck.
Wow. So where did you guys meet during those days? Where did you meet in somebody's house or what?
We met at the golf course usually.
Right.
Now we stopped playing at Langston. Then
Why did you stop playing there?
Other places open.
Okay. Now who designed like the Pro Duffers logo and all that?
Well, first we had two first. The
Right.
first one was designed by Mordecai's wife,
Okay.
and the next one was done by Bill Carr's lady.
Oh, that's right.
His lady.
And that's the current one
That's
we have
one
now.
they're using now. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else? We're about to wrap this up. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in terms of the local chapter or anything you'd
I
like
don't
to
know
say?
anything about the national chapter, but I
From
know
the local.
the guys that we had in the club were very nice guys to play with. We played at Falls Road every Sunday.
So you guys were mainly just a bunch of guys who were very good friends with
That's
each other,
right.
right?
That's right.
Okay.
All of us.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time. I know we're all going to enjoy this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for
Thank you,
having
Sue.
us.
Good night.
Okay. Now that we have the local chapter history, let's turn to the national organization with Milton and Joe D. Men, how did the national start? And talk a bit about the national tournament and some of the folks who helped with that effort.
Foster Kid, who was from Dallas, Texas, was a house guest of mine. And this evening we had a meeting of the Pro Duffers, and I told Foster, I said, Foster, I got to go to the meet, to a club meet. He said, what kind of club meet? I said, "The golf club meeting?" And he said, "Can I go?" I said, "I don't see why not." So we left my house and went to Sewell Horad's house. This is when we were having the club meetings at a house. So we went down to Sewell Horad's home, and they had the meeting in the basement. And we had a most contentious meeting. I mean, arguing and cussing and doing everything else in Sewell's basement. When the meeting was over, Foster Kid said, "Man, I had a superb time." I said, "Man, these fellas don't usually act this way." He said, "But I had a good time. Can we get a chapter in Dallas?" So he brought that up, and we said, "Why not? This could be the start of something big." And the next thing we know, we had a meeting at a national point where we started the national tournament. Milton was one of the instruments of getting this national on the road. So we'll let Milton talk about it now.
My turn.
Yep.
Jody has really put it in a nutshell, but there were other little leading points that I think really promulgated this entire concept of having a national. We had met Foster Kid before. He had a running buddy by the name of Dan Evans, also from Dallas, Texas. At the time, we used to go to Freeport, Bahamas every February and have our own little tournaments as a subgroup. We had not yet become Pro Duffers. And Bill Carr, which was also one of our running buddies, he was my four-ball partner. And we had these very, 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 very competitive matches, so that it was a close-knit group that did it. In fact, I think it should be put on the record that Bill Carr's then young lady is the person who designed the Pro Duffers logo. At any rate, there was a group who initially were a little bit contentious about the national, but it all worked out with Jody's influence, and I like to think I had a few things to do with it. But we went to Las Vegas for 3 consecutive years. The first year was to thrash out the different things that we thought were important. There was a guy named C.C. Jones from Memphis who was very instrumental, as well as, of course, the guys from Texas. Thereafter, it was a beautiful one-way street.
So where were some of the places that you went at the National? Where did you hold the tournaments?
We had 3 in Las Vegas, as I told you. We were in Jamaica 3 times. We went to Florida, where Jody had his hole-in-one. What's the name of that?
Greenleaf.
Greenleaf. We were in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been all over, tremendous. In South Carolina, at Hilton Head. Mm-hmm. I think we have seen the full gambit of magnificent resorts, because it was a part of our Constitution, I might add, right, that our national would always be at a major facility where our spouses who put up with us all year would be happy to attend and have some fun themselves. So we've always gone to resorts.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think this gives you a flavor of what happened at the National from 2 of the icons of the National, Milton Bernard and Joe D. Saunders. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, right from the horse's mouth, or right from the duffer's mouth. Thank you.